Uh-oh. Guess what day it is? Guess what day it is? Huh? Anybody? Julie, hey, guess what day it is? Oh, come on, I know you can hear me. Mike. What day is it, Mike? Leslie, guess what today is?
It's hump day.
Woo-hoo! Hump day, yeah!
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Let's Talk, Bill's Retro Gaming Show. Glad to be back with you guys. Took a little break last week. Had a little something else going on Wednesday night. Couldn't do the show, but was very happy to be able to participate in something very special this past Sunday. A little streamathon going on. Guys like myself, Michael B, Rascal, P-Dubs, James Hates Everything, Arcades Anonymous, Chaotic BPR, a bunch of us all streamed all day long on Sunday, kind of taking turns in honor of our good buddy Steve Sale. I know you guys heard a lot about that. Had some medical challenges a number of years ago, as a result, wound up losing a lot of his teeth, the bone structure in his mouth, all that kind of stuff. Has gone through some surgery for that. He's gone through like the initial surgery for that. Still a lot more to go, but very, very pleased to be a part of that, helping raise money for him. The GoFundMe is still out there. It is still going on. I will have a link to it in the description. Once this video is done, I'll put the link in there along with the other links for stuff that I'm going to be talking about today. So if you did not get a chance to give to the GoFundMe for Steve Sale over the weekend, or if you still want to give or do something more, that's still out there. That's still ongoing. Be sure you take part in that. All right. So anyway, back with you guys on a Wednesday here, and got a few things that I want to talk about tonight. Some stuff that, you guys saw it in the thumbnail. We're going to talk a little bit about the New Wave Toys updates. We're going to talk a little AtGames. We're going to talk a little Analogue 3D, and a couple of other things that have come up that I thought might be a little interesting for you guys. Before we do that, I'm going to do what we usually do. We're going to say hi to a bunch of people in the chat. But the first thing I got to do is I got to shout out my good friend and moderator, Jason Little Alien, for being here, for gifting 10 memberships to Bill's Retro Gaming Show. Welcome to the Billbarians. That's right. You are now officially Billbarians. Thanks so much for doing that, Jason. Definitely appreciated. Let's get back and let's say hi to some of the other people who are here. And I actually had this up early enough that I was able to catch everybody from the beginning. And starting with John Fritz here saying, good evening, everyone. Followed by the Be Me, Bill. What day is it? It's hump day. That's right. The Be Me, always here early, always leaving comments early before the show starts. So always good to see you. We got, let's see, we got Calvin Wong in the chat. We got J-Rod is here. We got Biggie D saying, guys, let's go. We got Mike Hawkhurst here, talking a little bit about AtGames and Zen. Yeah, we're going to get into that tonight for sure. Let's see. We got all these new memberships here. We got Josh Dendy on the hype train. Good to see you here, my man. We got Mitchie B here saying thank you to Jason. Mitchie B, one of the new members of the Billbarians. Good to see you here. Let's see. We got Kurt the Daring here as well. Greetings, programs. We got Dr. Freeman here. Let's see. We got the Real Zim. Always good to see the Real Zim. Can't stand that fake Zim guy. So always good when the Real Zim shows up. We got Fat Hog here as well. Let's see. J-Rod, I think I said hi to J-Rod already. Marathon Sunday was a real awesome day. Yeah, it was. A lot of fun. So glad to be a part of that for sure. We got Ritual Dello here, my good buddy. Evening all. What's up, Bill? What's up with you, my man? Always good to see you here. Thank you, Jason, again, for putting this in the chat. Again, and I will link to it in the video description later on. We got John J here as well. Oh, we got the man. We got Chaotic BPR here. Good evening, Bill. Hope you're having a great night, man. So far, so good, brother. Hope you're doing good. Again, for those of you who missed it, Chaotic shaved his head live on stream on Sunday to help raise money. He put his marriage on the line for you guys for that stream. It was really cool. It was a lot of fun. But I gotta say, one of the things that really pisses me off about that is he had some really nice hair, and he shaved it off, and he still looks better than I do, even after shaving it off. So, damn you, Brian. But you know, it was for a good cause, and it was a lot of fun, for sure. Let's see, who else? We got Bobby1ALU here. Almost didn't make it. Happy hump day to everybody. We got Dark Realm GM here saying what's up to everyone. I want to see. Hopefully I'm not missing anybody. Show Get Go 529 is here as well saying hello. All right. I think that's everybody for now. Bill, the difference is his will grow back unlike ours. No. Yeah, no shit, Ritual Dello. Ain't that the truth? It just isn't fair. All right. We're going to keep going. We are going to keep going. And let's get into some stuff. I know probably more people are going to be joining as we move on. So I'm going to start with a couple of different things here before we get into, some of the main stuff. Let me make sure I got all my... Ooh, I definitely don't want that up there. Don't need people seeing bank information. I'm not Cornercade. Anyway, moving on. Let's start with this. So, Nintendo announced, I think it was earlier today, that 2 new games are going to be coming to their Nintendo Classics line, which is basically their Nintendo Switch Online. This is with the expansion pack for the Nintendo 64. 2 Ubisoft games from the N64 line, Rayman 2, The Great Escape, and Tonic Trouble. These are going to launch next Wednesday on December... Yeah, I know, buddy. I'm just messing with you. I'm just messing, brother. Good to see you, Cornercade. Oh, Gallagher guy, good to see you too. Anyway, so we're going to get 2 new games from Ubisoft. Well, 2 old new games from Ubisoft for Nintendo Switch Online N64. Rayman 2, The Great Escape, and Tonic Trouble. The Rayman games, I remember pretty well. Rayman 2, kind of one of the first real forays into that whole, 64-bit 3D line for those games. Tonic Trouble, I don't remember so much, but it's got a similar vibe to Rayman. I would love to play the trailer video for you guys, but the last time I played anything Nintendo, they jumped on me and tried to give me a copyright claim, even with sound down. So I ain't playing nothing from Nintendo anytime soon right now. You guys can check out the trailer for yourself. I'll link to it in the description so you could see it. But just know, if you've got a Nintendo Switch or a Nintendo Switch 2, if you pay for the expansion pack, you got a couple of new games coming to you next Wednesday. Michael B has BJ's on his open tabs. Yes, he does. Nintendo Switch 2 had an update the other day. I did the update, and now I have glitches and game freezing, which really... Wow, hopefully they fix that pretty soon. But, all right, moving on. I'm going to talk about... I'm going to talk about something that I don't normally cover. I've covered these guys once or twice in the past. Usually I don't talk too much about Arcade Archives, because a lot of the times the games that they put out are either like really deep cuts or just, the games that nobody really remembers all that much. But today they announced one coming out that is actually, I think, a really great game. It's maybe a hidden gem from the Konami 80s era, but one of my personal favorites. So I wanted to cover it real quick. And that is, let me bring this one up, Roc'N Rope. So Roc'N Rope is now available through Arcade Archives. You can buy it for all the major consoles, Nintendo, PlayStation, Xbox. The game, for what you get, I mean, the games really aren't that cheap. I mean, you're talking $7.99 for the Arcade Archives version, $9.99 for Arcade Archives 2, which adds some extra features to the game and stuff. Even though it is the the arcade ROM of it, they do add some extra things on there, like time challenges and I think they've got like high score leaderboards and things like that. But this one was always one of my favorite games in the arcades. I'm going to play a little clip of it in a minute. But the whole idea of the game, let me bring this up. Why am I not showing it? The whole idea of the game is you play as this explorer or whatever. You've got a hook gun that you fire to go from platform to platform. The whole thing is you've got to avoid these other characters, the dinosaur, the cavemen, all these different things that come after you. Climb from platform to platform with your rope. You can stun them with a flashlight temporarily, or if you pick up the egg or the feather, you become invincible for a little while and you can knock them out that way, all the while trying to get up to the top of the level to get to the Phoenix Bird, and then you ride on the Phoenix Bird to the next level. There's like 4 or 5 different levels to it. I forget exactly how many levels in the game, and then it's one of those cycles over again, and you're just trying to chase a high score with it. But I always thought this game was a lot of fun. Let me see what they say here. The normal $7.99 version includes an additional high score mode and caravan mode, and the Arcade Archives 2 edition adds a bonus time attack mode and is priced at the higher $9.99. Just to give you guys a little bit of an idea of the game. So this is it from Arcade Archives, and like I said, I always thought this was a fun game. This was always one of my favorite arcade games. I used to see this one in the arcades all the time and play it. I always hoped that if Arcade went up, or maybe now with Basic Fun, who knows, if they ever do like a kind of a Konami Legacy cab or a Konami cab with a bunch of different older Konami games on it. I was always hoped that this one would make the cut, because I do think it's kind of a classic, and I think this one would be a lot of fun. Now, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of interesting trivia that I found out when I was looking up this game that I thought you guys might find interesting. So, even though the game was published by Konami, the guy who made it, whose name I completely forget, actually also produced Bionic Commando for Capcom and Ghouls and Ghosts, I think. So he created Ghouls and Ghosts. He created Bionic Commando for Capcom, and Bionic Commando was actually originally going to be like an expanded version of Roc'N Rope. But I guess in the move from Konami to Capcom, he decided to make it something different. You can tell, kind of a similar play mechanic with the rope and everything on it. But yeah, I just think it's a really cool game, really fun game, and I figured I would point that out to you guys. And I don't know how many of you guys are interested in Arcade Archives or anything like that. Again, $8, $10 for a single game. Not exactly cheap from them, but it is still pretty cool. Dr. Freeman says he had the ColecoVision version of that. Yep. Roc'N Rope, never heard of it. I tell you, it is kind of a hidden gem. It's definitely not one of the the top what most people would consider the top tier Konami games, but it's always been kind of a personal favorite of mine for sure. Hey, we got Moat here, Mike of All Trades. Always good to see you, brother. Glad you are here with us. Israel Gaming is also coming in. Good to see you, brother. Let's see who else we got. Bobby 1ALU says, never heard of this one. We'll have to check it out. It's a good game. Lots of people talking about the N64 and different stuff. Yeah, we're going to get to that. We're definitely going to get to that. Michael B says, everybody be quiet. Bill's talking. Good to see you here, Mike, as always. Oh, Java UK is also here. Good to see you. Good evening / good morning. Just a reminder, 1 day, 6 hours until Terminator 2D No Fate drops. Yeah, that looks like it's going to be a fun game for sure. I got my eye on that one. Absolutely. All right, let's move on to the next thing. Hold on a second. Sorry about that little throat tickle there. All right, moving on to the next thing. Let's talk a little Evercade for a second because they just announced a little something today too. Not new cartridges, unfortunately, but just something for you guys to maybe be aware of. If you guys like to collect Evercade carts, if there's some that you haven't had a chance to check yet. Oh, nice of you to shave your bill. Hey, just trying to go with the crowd. P-Dubs, nice burger time. Thanks, P-Dubs. I definitely appreciate that. Yeah, guys, if you haven't checked out my burger time review, please go check it out. Love to have a few more views on that. I think I did pretty well on it, but definitely check that out for sure. Stockjog just dropped in to watch the best show on Wednesday night. Well, maybe the second best after Arcades Anonymous, for sure. Which, guys, they're coming up after me, so be sure you check them out as well. But little news from Evercade today regarding their legacy cartridges. Now, if you don't know what that means, it basically means that after a certain amount of time, they stop producing specific cartridges, and that's it. If you didn't get a chance to get it, you didn't get a chance to get it. You're basically going to be stuck with whatever stock is left because they're not going to make any new ones. And they're talking about what is coming up early next year to go into basically the vault that, they're not going to make anymore. And that would be Intellivision Collection 1, Intellivision Collection 2, and IRM Arcade 1. So if you're interested in any of those cartridges and you haven't had a chance to pick them up now, you basically have till March to get these before they stop producing them anymore. And then obviously you'll have a little while after that because there'll be stock out there. But once the stock dries up, that's pretty much it. So just something to be aware of if you guys didn't know, if you're a collector of these things. Looks like Intellivision Collection 1 and 2 and the IRM Arcade 1 are going to be basically discontinued in March. And they've made this announcement before, but I figure I might as well mention this now because starting this month, they're no longer going to be creating Pico Interactive Collection 2, Indie Heroes Collection 1, Mega Cat Studios Collection 2, and the Sydney Hunter Collection. So those are 4 that are going to be done this month. So again, if you're interested in any of those, if you haven't picked them up yet, probably focus on these 4 first because you got a few more months left for these to go into to go out of production. But just something I thought you guys might want to be aware of from Evercade. Let's see what we got going on with the chat here. Go watch Bill's review. He won't get any more if you don't watch. Thank you. Always appreciate that. Where am I going to put the new burger temp? Right now, it's actually upstairs in the game room. I have that sitting next to my partycades. I got a spot for it right next to the partycades, and I've got room for one more as of right now to go like right next to it, and I have one more coming, but you'll have to wait and see what that is. It's probably going to be coming in a couple of weeks, and you'll just have to wait. I think James has me blocked. I can't see his chat. Change the chat from top chat to live chat. I've noticed that too. For some reason, certain people don't seem to show up if it's just set to top chat. I don't know why that is. But just why are my chats invisible? I don't know why it does that. Why it hides certain people when it's set to top chat instead of live chat. But definitely do that, and you should be able to see everybody that way. Hopefully, the IRIM is outstanding in television. Not so much. Depends on what you like. James is being kicked out of the Illuminati, apparently. Oh, that's funny. Hey, B. Kirby is here. Always good to see you, man. Thank you very much for being here. Appreciated, for sure. Sometimes I think James just hates me. Yeah, P-Dub's not bringing that one up. but that was fun. But that was funny as hell. Guys, if you haven't seen some of the AI shorts that some of the guys have been putting out, especially P-Dubs put out some really funny ones recently. He does something very mean to James Hates Everything in one of them, and it's hysterical. So check that out. All right. Don't want that up. Not that that was a big deal, but anyway. All right, so let's move on to this one. All right. Some of you might have seen this. Let's see, can I can zoom in a little on this? All right, so here we go. So apparently this email went out to a bunch of people. Interestingly enough, I didn't get this email. I am subscribed to them. I know I get all of their sales ones. I do have some pre-orders out with them, so I'm a little surprised that this didn't come to me, but this was posted to Facebook. So I wanted to talk about this a little bit, this update from New Wave Toys. It says, good day, everybody. On behalf of myself and the New Wave Toys team, sincerely apologize to all of you for the radio silence. And a lot of us know this already, the recent lack of communication due to my limited but now increasing bandwidth as I'm working through physical healing and adapting to new health issues, suffered in an unfortunate accident that derailed our progress with production development and production. Of course, this is Shiloh speaking. For those of you who don't know, Shiloh was in a pretty bad accident earlier this year up in Canada. He's working through that. Hopefully, you know, he's on the mend and getting better. It does sound like it. I know he reached out to Glenn Planamento recently, had a chat with him on the phone recently, so that's good news as well. But he's putting out this information to people right now. Just to kind of jump ahead on this, says we're getting caught up, taking it one project at a time, starting with the Golden TX Replicate and Real Arcade wireless controllers that are scheduled to start ramping up production in a few weeks once the mass production of the retail GT plug-and-plays is finished. So, yes, they did start with the plug-and-play Golden Ts that are now showing up in BJ's, are probably going to hit some other retailers as well in the near future. Once they're through some of their initial production on that, looks like they're going to get started on some of the other ones. Business out of Fire 2. Yeah, they had some wildfires out in California, which definitely was an issue for sure. Definitely caused some problems for them. Plus tariffs, all this other stuff. It's just, you know, kind of a perfect storm of issues. But, you know, glad to see them trying to get back on track with some things here. So moving on to this, here's the production schedule as they're calling it right now. So it looks like Golden T, they're looking to get out in January. The Arcade Atmosphere playsets in March. Black Hole in April. Skee Ball is going to be in May with Crystal Castles in June. So I know it's a lot. I know people have been waiting a very long time for a lot of these things. Obviously, again, major extenuating circumstances with New Wave Toys, Shiloh's accident, the wildfires, tariffs, all those kind of things. I know with Golden Tee, there was a lot going on. I don't know all the details, but I know there was a lot going on behind the scenes, trying to work out a retail deal for that. They really wanted to make sure they had that buttoned up before releasing the product, and I think hopefully that deal helped them to really kind of get through a lot of the issues money-wise with things. I know I covered a little bit of this on my show on Sunday, talking about it a little bit, so I don't want to get too much more into it, but I did want to point out that this announcement that just went out, if you didn't get the email, hopefully now you know a little bit more about it. I'm excited for Golden Tee coming in January, hopefully. I did pre-order that with the full-size wireless controller, which is why I'm not, looking into getting the plug-and-play one that is at BJ's right now. I know P-Dubs just got one. I know Chaotic BPR is getting one really soon. So maybe they'll put out some videos on that, which I would love to see. I definitely love to see how well these things play, how well that they work, for sure. Like I said, while I'm waiting for mine, I've got some of the Arcade Atmosphere stuff coming. I did not pre-order the Skee Ball or any of the other stuff, so I'm kind of waiting to see what happens with that. Who knows? Maybe they'll send some of the things to me for review at some point. They've done that in the past. No guarantee with the future. Who knows? Maybe they've had to rethink some things business-wise with everything going on. Maybe they're not going to send out as many review units as they did. If they do, great. If they don't, okay too. Hopefully they go to other people who can get some reviews out. But either way, still glad to see that they're hopefully getting back on track with some of this stuff. Let's see, what do we got going on here besides Brooklyn Menace being here? Hello, brother. Always good to see you, for sure. Thumper Squid says, I hear excuses. Maybe. Listen, again, it is what it is. If that's how you are looking at it, then that's how you're looking at it. I'm not going to say yes or no to that. You can take that any way that you want. Like I said, I'm hopeful. Mo says it's cool that they have a timeline tentatively. Yeah, and they did have a timeline earlier than that. We were supposed to start seeing stuff in September of this year, but again, that was before Shiloh's accident when they first put that one out, so things changed, obviously. I think they're going to have to do a lot to win back some trust in 2026, and I hope that they can, because I really don't think that it's all their fault. Again, I do think they need to think having a contingency plan in effect for something like this. This is not something that you could plan for. Nobody plans for wildfires. Nobody plans for accidents. Nobody plans for this stuff. But again, that's also one of the reasons why you have a contingency plan for the, lack of a better term, the unplannable. So maybe that will help with things in the future. We will see. Hey, Dark Realm. Have a great rest of your stream, buddy. See you, man. Hopefully you will get a chance to watch the rest of it on the replay. We got Goofyfoot here. I just bought an F-250 today. It's in... Oh, wow. Okay. Good for you, man. That's a big car. Is New Wave Toys just a one-man show? Then we know the answer to that. No, they're not. But when everything rests on one person, and that one person has to be the ultimate decision maker, that's when you have an issue. And I think that's, like I said, that's where they have to rethink things, and there needs to be a VP or there needs to be a second in command. I mean, maybe there is a VP, but maybe he doesn't have the same type of power that Shiloh has. There needs to be somebody, a second in command, who can make decisions when the president isn't available. And I think that's one of the things, like I said, hopefully that's something that they've realized with all of this, right? So we'll just have to wait and see. The display at BJ's is non-existent, so be surprised you can pick up the Golden Tee deck for $99 to $139 after the holidays. We'll see. I mean, it's funny that you say that it's non-existent in, like, they just aren't carrying a lot of them, or maybe they had a lot and they sold them. Which, if they're selling well, don't expect them to go down in price. But then again, you never know. You never know. Thank you, brother. Appreciate the thumbs up for sure. We'll have to wait and see. I haven't had a chance to. I've been too busy. Like, I have a BJ's literally down the road from me. Like it's a 2-minute drive down the road. I have not had a chance to get down there just to see if they had any in stock. I want to go into the store just to see them, just out of curiosity. Like I said, I'm not picking one up because I have the other one coming to me from my pre-order. But I'm curious to see how many they have, and then we'll have to see. There should be no pre-orders in 2026 from New Ways Toys. If they have a cab plan, they should have a safe number of units already on hand before announcing the next cab. Again, we will wait and see. My understanding is they do have some things planned, but I also do agree with that they really need to focus on getting all of this done first before they start making announcements on the next ones. For sure. Clearly, Shiloh delegates very limited authority to anyone else. It's difficult when your baby is in others' hands, but it's a necessary evil. Yeah, but there there does come a point where you, like I said, you kind of have to just have somebody that you trust to make the right decisions when you can't. But yeah. Peter's a co-founder and works for Wonderland, so it's entirely possible that day-to-day is just Shiloh. Yeah, 100% on that. A display at BJ's is just the box at my 2 local stores, no display units and no special placement. Both stores also had not sold any units until several days ago. Interesting. Oh, some of the chat is pretty funny. That's for sure. You guys are great. You crack me up. All right, let's move on to the next thing. That's enough with New Wave Toys. Again, I'm trying to be hopeful that they'll get back on track for 2026 and win some confidence back with people. I like them. I like their stuff a lot. And, you know, well wishes and prayers to Shiloh, and hopefully that, like I said, they get back on track. All right, let's talk a little Analogue 3D. So, you know, this product has been out for just a little while now, but they made an announcement very recently that they were going to put some new versions of this out, specifically versions in multiple colors. Now, this went live today at like 8 a.m. What was it? 8 a.m. Pacific. And these suckers sold out pretty much immediately. You got the green, the jungle one. You got ice. You got watermelon, fire, grape, clear, smoke, and gold. And you can see here, sold out, sold out, sold out, sold out. I mean, these suckers sold out pretty much immediately on this. Now, luckily, the plain, the black, and the white, those are still available. So if you want to get one of these, you can still get one at, you know, their regular price. The colored ones were a little bit more expensive anyway. But I mean, unless they plan on restocking these, you're pretty much SOL on the limited edition ones right now. And again, they are limited editions, so that might have been it. I don't know. I'm not sure with Analogue, you know, when they do stuff like this, do they come around and do maybe a second batch or whatever? I don't know. They also did put through 8-Bit to have some controllers in the same color schemes. Those look like they're still available. And I got to say, the controllers look pretty cool. I'm actually thinking about picking up one of these controllers anyway, just for playing games like on PC or on my Switch. I've got the N64 controller for Switch, but having one of these I think would be pretty cool. It looks and feels more like a standard controller than the funky N64 one, but still has the button layout and everything kind of set up for you to be able to play N64 games, which I think is pretty cool. But yeah, I'm just curious in the chat. I see a lot of people talking. Let me jump up back on the chat here for a minute and see. Did anybody get a chance to pick one of these up, or maybe did you grab one of the regular ones if you couldn't get one of the colored ones on this? Worst Jago says he got the gold one. Good for you. That console only plays N64 cartridges. Correct. That's exactly what it is. It's an FPGA unit designed to play original N64 cartridges. You can also do multi-carts on it. They had some issues with it originally, but they've made some updates to it so that I think most, if not all, multi-carts like the what is it, the Evercart and some of those will actually work on it now. Same thing happened with all the color editions they did for the Analogue Pocket. Very limited numbers. Yep. My Little Pixel did a not-so-nice review of this company and this product recently, but if you own a bunch of old 1990s carts and don't have hardware, it's an option, right? Yeah, I actually have an N64. I picked one up recently, so I don't have any interest in this specifically. I get it. It is set up so you can play it directly on modern hardware with the HDMI out. I think it does do a little bit of extra processing in there to maybe clean up the picture a little bit to get it on newer hardware, as opposed to running it on an N64, running a regular N64. And I run it through a converter, plug in the composite cables, and then HDMI out from there. Been considering maybe getting a retro tank for it, which will also help to kind of clean things up a little bit, depending on. But those can be expensive too, for sure. Holy crap, they're already on eBay for $500. No kidding. Not surprised. James states everything. Grab the gold controller. Don't need an extra Analog 64. Yeah. Like I said, I'm kind of looking at the controllers too. They don't ship until February. Still might order one at some point. Did I get an arcade one of Pac-Man? You are going to keep Video Game Vegas. You are going to keep pushing that Pac-Man Neon Deluxe, aren't you? EverDrive. Thank you, EverDrive. Thank you. I said it wrong. You knew what I meant, though. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate you having my back. I have a Poly Mega, but I still want one because N64 emulation on there sucks. Yeah. But the cool kids got them all first. Only wanted for the HDMI out without having to mod my N64. You don't really need to. I mean, you don't have to mod the N64. There's plenty of options to just run the cables into a switcher and HDMI out, and it works fine. Works fine. That's what like I said, that's what I do with mine, for sure. Wonder how much longer they'll keep the controllers up. Seems like they're just a pre-order. I think, look, it's 8-bit though, so I think the controllers are going to be around for a while. Maybe the colored ones might be a little bit limited, but the regular black and white ones, and maybe even the classic one, this guy right here, which looks really freaking cool, actually. You'll probably be able to get those pretty much anytime. I mean, they're on Amazon right now for pre-order, shipping at the end of January. So there's that. I bought my original C4 for just one game, Conquer's Bad Fur Day. I'm looking for that. If I can find that, cart, I will get it. But I think they're a little bit. I think that cart's a little bit harder to find, a little bit expensive right now. It's not. Oh, okay. That's true. See, I didn't really have any plans to stream gameplay with it, But if that's something that you plan on doing, yeah, I totally understand it. But maybe a retro tank. Maybe a retro tank would do that for you. But I did want to point this out too, and I know some people mentioned it in the chat. If you missed out on the Analogue 3D, if you still want another machine that you can play your N64 cartridges on, a modern console, there is another option, and that's this guy. This is Mod Retro's M64. Now, it's not out yet. Honestly, not sure when it's coming out. There's just a wait list for it. But this is another one that you could look into, that you could consider. I haven't heard anything on this in terms of price or exactly when it's going to come out just yet. Probably could do a little bit of research and find that. I don't know if anybody has, if they've put that out yet, if anybody's talked about that yet. But they've got a few options here. They got the purple one, they've got this green one, and then they've got this clear one, which is kind of cool too. I kind of like the purple one, if I'm being honest. And then, of course, they've got a controller here too, which looks like it's pretty much just, normal N64 controller. Probably works with this Bluetooth, but of course, this has also got the ports in the front where you could plug in regular N64 controllers as well, which is nice. We'll have to see, how this differentiates itself from the Analogue. Supposedly, the issues that Analogue had with the multi-carts, this one should be good right out of the box, apparently. But again, we'll have to wait and see. We will definitely have to wait and see on that one. But it is an alternative. If you really want something to play your N64 games on it, that's ready for modern hardware, that might be one to look at. Let's see. I like this better. Looks more like the OG. Yeah, some people like it. Some people think it's a little on the fugly side. But I would tend to agree. It does remind me a little bit more of an original N64 for sure. Hockey Town Arcade here. Those power and reset buttons / dials are gaudy. Again, yeah. Preference for sure. Where Shaco says price for the M64 is $199. Ah, okay. So a little bit cheaper than the Analogue too, which is nice. Those horrible buttons / switches were a bad design choice. Ritual Delos holding out for Mod Retro. If they fix that, it'd be perfect. Yeah, probably not. That's probably the final design on it, but is it yes, I would say yes. They're very well known for their chromatic. This guy here. For their chromatic, which is basically an FPGA Game Boy player, lets you play original carts and things. This thing's been around for a while. From what I understand, people seem to really like it. So I would say Mod Retro is definitely a reputable company. I don't think they're one that you have to worry about. Got to get the M64 so that new Bucky game from GameStop can be played on there. My N64 plays fine on my TV. What's the benefit of buying this? Just curious. I would say there's probably a couple of benefits on it. Again, out of the box, you're getting HDMI hookups. You're getting HDMI hookups right to your TV. It does, like Ritual Dell says here, there is some upscaling built into these, so the picture should look a little bit better going to HDMI on it. The fact that it's FPGA means it's not software emulation, so it's like playing on the real thing, which should make compatibility perfect on it, or as close to perfect as you can get. And don't forget, the N64 has been around for a very long time. Hardware tends to fail after a while. being that these are new systems, you've got a better chance of them lasting longer. So that's something to always consider as well. Yep, Mod Retro is also releasing new N64 games when it launches, just like they did for Game Boy. So, yeah, that's another thing. Mod Retro also produces their own games. So you're going to have that as well on there. N64 on a modern big screen TV looks terrible. PD7, one of his games did not work on what? The chromatic? I think I'm going to wait for the M64 Purple to become available. Currently using original N64 with RetroTink. But I have... Okay. Yeah, this is one thing I have to do. The HDMI converter I have, it only has a switch for doing 720 versus 1080, which is kind of useless. As far as I'm concerned, I want to get another one that will let me make sure that I can do it in 4:3 if I want, because I think that's going to make a big difference without feeling like everything is stretched out on it. All right, let's move on because we got 15 minutes left, and I really want to hit some of these other topics before the end of the show and move you guys onto Arcades Anonymous tonight. So we're going to talk a little AtGames for a little while, and there's a couple of things that I want to bring up with AtGames. We're going to start with this. This is a quick look at the deluxe table that is set to drop tomorrow morning. This is Tropical Deluxe, and I have thoughts on this one, but I'm going to wait until I see the whole thing in action, see a little bit more on it. They haven't told me anything. I don't know if they're sending this one to me yet. They haven't said anything to me, to be quite honest. But yeah, let me bring this up for a second. Let me pause this video for a second. All right, so let me. I'm just gonna get into this for just a second here. There's a lot of flippers on this table, man. This feels like a regression for Magic Pixel. I mean, there are literally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There are literally 10 flippers on this thing. You've got an upper playfield going on up here. You've got a lower playfield going on down here, but this area here also looks like it could be a lower playfield, but it's actually not. It's part of the main part of the table, so really hard to tell the depth on this, at least from this video. I'm going to wait until I see a little bit more on it, but I'll be honest, this one, I'm not holding out a lot of hopes for this one unless, it really plays well. I will tell you, the only thing that makes me excited for this game is the dancing chick in the bikini. That's the only thing that could be interesting that I see so far at this table. So, not holding out a lot of hopes for this particular one, but we'll wait and see. I'll reserve final judgment until I get a chance to check it out, whether they send it to me or whether I decide to pick it up on my own. It's going to be available for the 4KP, the regular HD, and the HDP. So, wasn't this table supposed to come out a long time ago? Not sure exactly when this one was. Don't drink this. It's not bedtime. Be nice, burn oranges. Bill's ready to knock boots with the tropical chick. My God, these guys are flipper. Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit crazy on this one. For sure. So, again, we'll have to wait and see. But that's enough for that. That one comes out tomorrow. Check it out if you want. Like I said, if they send it to me, I'll do a review on it for sure. But I did want to bring this up, too, real quick. If you're interested in picking up the Legends Pinball Micro HD, they've got it on a really good sale price right now. It's probably one of the best prices, if not the best price, it's ever been. And this is direct from AtGames for $289 on this, with free shipping, by the way. Free shipping, even from the AtGames site. Now, you can also get this on Amazon and a few other places where I think it's $299 right now. So $10 cheaper, actually, directly from AtGames, which is kind of interesting. So if you've been thinking about getting the micro pinball, might be a good time to pick this up. See, here, Bobby, when I see, here's the thing about that. I'm actually okay with that. It's freaking cold here in New York, and I know a lot of you people are Midwest, and you're even colder where you are than I am here. It was like 10 degrees yesterday, so it was really cold. Actually, my wife gets up this morning, she's like, "Ooh, 39 degrees, heat wave." So I'm actually okay with something that makes me think of summer and the beach when it's really, really cold out, if I'm being quite honest. But, oops, excuse me, hitting the mic there. Like I said, if you're interested in the Legends Micro, probably a good time to buy it at this price. But now let me talk a little bit more about AtGames and see, Video Game Vegas. It was in the 60s where, yeah, rub it in, brother. Rub it in. It's cold here in New York. That's all I'm going to say. So, a lot of you know that recently AtGames put out a brand new take on their pinball machines, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles themed HDP, they're calling it. It's an upgraded version of their HD machine. It's got the same hardware in it that the 4KP has, although it's a 1080p HD screen. The back glass is updated. It's got the DMD separate from the back glass on it. It's got hookups available in it for the SSF kit. So it's kind of a stepping stone in between the original HD and the 4KP. It's kind of right in the middle between the two of them. And one of the potential selling points of the new HDP was the ability to play Zen Studio games on it, the Zen Studio pinball tables, specifically because it has the same hardware as the 4KP. Well, it feels like maybe there's been a little bit of a damper put on that, or maybe a little bit of confusion around it. And this is Oop. There we go. Turn the sound down on this. This is the Blockade Pinball podcast from a couple of days ago. And they're interviewing Mel Kirk. Mel Kirk is, I believe he's the owner of Zen Studios. I know he works for them. I think he's the owner. And somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, of Zen Studios. And they were talking, they talked about a lot of things in this podcast. If you're interested in Pinball Effects VR, or Pinball M, or what Zen Studios maybe has planned for the future, this is definitely worth a look. But he was specifically in this segment, he was specifically asking about AtGames and what's going on there. Yeah, Mel is not pleased at all. Yeah, definitely going to get into that a little bit. But he was talking about some different things with AtGames, and let me try to break it down a little bit. Again, I'll link in the description to all of this so you guys can check this out. And of course, there goes Jason Lillian beating me to it with a link in the chat for sure. So one of the first things that they brought up was the Elvira table, specifically Scared Stiff. Now, if you've played Scared Stiff, if you've played it in VR or you've played the real pinball machine, you know that table has a spinning mechanism in the back glass. And when certain events happen on the pinball table, it spins and it, causes other things to happen, interactions within the game. Now, on the AtGames 4KP, there is no animated spinning on the back glass. Now, somebody, if you own that table on the 4KP, correct me if I'm wrong here, because I don't have that, so I don't know exactly how it works. But I think they were saying that the animation actually moves down to the main part of the table where you see it spin there, and then kind of move back up, kind of like if you were playing it, on your PC or on your console or whatever, in like desktop mode or whatever that they call it. And they were also see spinner on the playfield. There you go. That's what I thought. So spinner moves down to the playfield instead of animating in the back glass. And they were talking about if Bonsai Run comes to AtGames, because that has a lot of stuff going on with the car going around a track on the back glass. And there was a lot of hope that AtGames would be able to animate that in some way, shape, or form, but they couldn't. And a lot of that has to do with the hardware. And Mel Kirk was even saying he told them flat out from the get-go that the hardware was underpowered for their tables. Obviously, a lot of they can't render the games in 4K. The best they can do is 2K on them. When they first launched, they had lots of lag and latency issues, which have, to their credit, been fixed. But there's just no way that the hardware is powerful enough to run animation on the back glass and on the main playfield at the same time. It just can't do it. That 8 GB limitation was an unfortunate choice for AtGames. I'm sure that has a lot to do with it, for sure. So this interview has caused a lot of speculation as to whether or not the Zen Studios tables are actually going to be coming to the HDP. Now, I'm going to tell you this. I don't think it has anything to do with the hardware on the HDP, because it's the same hardware as the 4KP. I don't think it has really much to do with that. Yes, they'd have to recode them because they're only going to render it at 1080p max, as opposed to, like I said, the 2K that they're getting on the 4KP, which should actually make them run at least a little bit better because it is a lower resolution, but there is some work that's going to have to be done there. So I don't think it's necessarily an issue of they can't make it happen. I think a lot of the concern right now is, will they bother? And again, go back and watch that interview, because you can tell, a lot of people have brought that up. I've seen it in the chat here. A lot of people can tell he does not look happy talking about AtGames. It seems like the relationship isn't going well, which is a shame. And I'm going to make you guys feel probably worse than you might have felt when you thought maybe these weren't coming to the HDP. Because if things don't pick up in 2026, that Zen partnership may be over altogether. Now, don't quote me on this. I don't know anything. I'm speculating based on, like I said, the reaction in this interview. I don't think it's necessarily a matter of, just they won't come to the HDP, but if the relationship doesn't prove economically beneficial for both parties next year, that might be it. They might just stop porting tables over to it. They might dissolve the relationship. So for those of you thinking, well, I got a 4KP, so I'm good. You're good for now. You're good for the tables that have come out. But how much longer is that going to be? And I don't know. Again, I've said this multiple times. I will continue to say it. And I know there's people here who are fed up with AtGames. Video Game Vegas, I know you're one of them. I know you've kind of had it with them, and I get that feeling. I'm still a fan, at least to some degree. I like my HD. I considered moving up to the HDP. I'm still considering it, but I'm kind of waiting to see what happens a little bit more as we get into next year before I make a decision to plunk any extra money down on something like that. But I got to tell you, I am a little concerned. I am definitely a little concerned about what might happen with it going forward. Let's see. Well, I expect they may continue releasing tables through 2026. On the 4KP, the future of the HDP looks very unsteady with Zen. I don't know. Like I said, I'm concerned that the future is uncertain for both, if I'm being quite honest. And I will tell you, if they decide not to work with them on the HDP, the writing is on the wall for the 4K as well. I'm just going to straight up say it. If they're not bringing Zen tables to the HDP, because there's technologically no reason not to, it would be purely an economic decision at that point that they don't want to put the time into it, and the writing's on the wall for the rest of it as well. I'm just putting it out there. I'm glad I have a fully configured VPX set up. I'll stick with that for now. Yeah, listen, if you can do OTG, if you can do VPX, if you can do that, whether it's through a PC or maybe the standalone VPX on 4K, that's certainly a way to go. That's certainly a way to go with it. Considering they have to spend a lot of resources on getting them to work on AtGames to begin with, the downscale is not that bad. However, it is a lot to just get them working. So yeah, and that's what I'm talking about. I do think there's at least some work involved. You would think it's, if it works on one, it'll just work on the other. It doesn't always work that way. It's not. As somebody who codes for a living, trust me when I say it's not always that simple. I mean, I'm not a game programmer, but I understand fundamentals, and it's not always that simple at all. Must be a licensing issue for the HDP because that software should run fine as is on the new device. Agreed. Said, I think it's more of a business. I think if anything, it's going to be more of a business decision, and we're going to have to keep an eye on it through 2026 and see what happens. That's my hot take on it. You can certainly feel free to disagree with that if you want, but we will have to wait and see what happens. AtGames choosing to go the proprietary software route and doing API conversion causing latency is definitely part of the issue. Yeah, I'm sure that has a lot to do with it, for sure. Again, it's a lot of things. It's the hardware, it's the software, it's a lot of that stuff for sure. But anyway, guys, I think that's going to do it for now. I know Arcades Anonymous is getting started, so I want to make sure that you guys head on over to there. Do me a favor, guys. Leave me a thumbs up on your way out. Put a like on this video for me. Definitely appreciate it. If you're watching this on the replay, leave some comments below. Leave me your thoughts on anything that was talked about tonight. And, of course, if you're not subscribed to the channel yet, please do that as well. Guys, I am this close to 4,000 subscribers. I'm a little over 200 away. My YouTube anniversary comes up at the beginning of February. I would love to hit that 4K subscriber number before then, just because I think it would be a lot of fun. So if you're not subscribed yet, or if you want to share this or any of my videos around to help me boost up the subscriber count, greatly appreciated for sure, guys. Last minute housekeeping before I end it. I will be back next week for another show, and then going to take a couple of weeks off because of course, Wednesday the 24th is Christmas Eve. Wednesday the 31st is New Year's Eve. Not doing any shows for that. I think after that, the next show will be on January 7th, which happens to be my birthday. So I'm thinking about some special stuff for that. Might even try to figure out a way to do some guests, maybe bring some people on, do kind of an after the holidays community show. Let me know what you guys think about that. But, guys, that's going to do it. Hope you enjoyed it. Go check out Arcades Anonymous or enjoy the rest of your evening, whatever you decide to do. And I'll see you guys next time. Take care and happy gaming.